I not given you everything that you wanted? A chance to go back to see your father.
Nora.
To run with the Flash.
No!
This is your legacy. Another broken family.
We need to talk.
Yes, Nora. Yes, we do.
The stage is set. Worlds will live. Worlds will die. And the universe will never be the same.
The Flash. All new episodes return Tuesday, January 15th on the CW.
Hey everybody, Happy New Year! Reverse Flash is back for the rest of the season. I got a lot of requests to do a video on the teaser for his brand new suit. People think that he's going to be wearing a brand new costume, so I'll try to explain what's going on with that. But the producers and Tom Cavanagh himself gave a couple interviews explaining exactly what they're going to be doing with his character and which direction they're taking this. Because in the footage we've seen so far, they have this Hannibal Lecter, Silence of the Lambs thing going on. So because it's the holidays, we'll do a new round of that Reverse Flash ring giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave your favorite Reverse Flash moment on the video. I'll name a new winner at the end of this. We'll talk about the new Reverse Flash costume first, because that's what most people are freaking out about right now. Then we'll talk about the new previews that they gave during their recent interviews, which are actually pretty cool. It implies something weird is going on with the Nora storyline. We all know Reverse Flash is probably manipulating Nora. He's already lied to her about a couple things, but they explained that it's way deeper than that. Like, it's going to be way more complicated, which I think is going to be really cool. So if you didn't see it, the reason why people are thinking that we're getting a new Reverse Flash suit is because Tom Cavanagh and Carlos Valdez did their annual greeting for everyone. They usually sing a Christmas song and do like a little funny skit. At the end of that skit, they reveal a couple posters of a new Reverse Flash costume. So I'll just play like a little bit of that here. So you see this suit, it's definitely different from the current version of the Reverse Flash suit. The Reverse Flash that we've been seeing in the future in prison with Nora is the same Reverse Flash that ran off at the end of the Season 4 Flash crossover when he was teasing Barry by saying that he might be wearing a new face when he showed up again. Well, he's still wearing the same face, but the producers explain he ran off and somewhere in the future he got caught, thrown in prison in Iron Heights, and that's when Nora came to him. So as of right now, as far as we've seen him, he's still got that old costume, but this implies that they might decide to change that in the future. They change Barry's costume every single season, so it would make sense that at some point they would change Reverse Flash's costume. But what they've done here is they've taken his regular costume, there's black running through the helmet, there's black shoulder guards, there's the black lightning bolts down the side, the belt is almost solid black and red instead of being yellow, black, and red. In all, it just looks a little bit cleaner than the suit he's been wearing this whole time. The way they shade the suit, like it's black and yellow, but it kind of bleeds into each other, so it almost gives it this dirty look. And even though they've kind of changed the coloring a little bit season to season, it's the same basic costume that he's been wearing this whole time. There are two big concept artists that are responsible for most of the concept art that you see on The Flash. One is Andy Poon, who posts stuff pretty regularly. The other is John Gallagher. So John Gallagher is the person that made this Season 1 or pre-Season 1 Reverse Flash concept art. Obviously, they didn't go with this. This is the one that Andy Poon did prior to Season 1, which they also did not wind up using. So this brand new iteration that they have on the table here is two different photos. It's this one and this one, both John Gallagher photos, but colored to look more like the Andy Poon lines with the black in the helmet and the black on the costume. So whatever they're implying with this, someone has combined all of the unused concept designs into one single design, and that could serve as the basis for what his new costume looks like, arguably maybe when he gets out of prison or breaks out of prison later this season. So just keep in mind that this is not a guarantee that he'll be wearing this suit. It's just concept art that's been changed to look more like a lot of original Season 1 concept art. But I think if they're trying to show the evolution of the Reverse Flash, it would make sense that at some point he would get a new suit. So here's the thing, Season 5 Reverse Flash's storyline, per the producers in a new interview, is all about his own legacy. They say that he's actually concerned with his legacy the same way that Barry is worried about his legacy, and his legacy mostly being Nora and all the problems she's having. So like Barry looks at the future newspaper, he sees all this Crisis stuff going on in the background. He doesn't totally understand Crisis on Infinite Earths, but he sees that things are really bad and things with Nora are really bad, especially with his family because she and Iris weren't really close in the future, so just things are bad in general. The same thing is going to be happening in the Reverse Flash's mind, but arguably, he has a harder road to hoe because his legacy right now is as a great villain to the Flash, but also the person who killed Barry's mother and just a complete psychopath. But remember, he wasn't always this crazy. Like maybe he had the seeds in there early, but he became this crazy fanboy that turned into a villain over time as he started to encounter Barry Allen when he would come to the future initially. But at one point, he was a very promising genius that could have been a very productive member of society had things not gone down the way they did. So being thrown in prison over and over again by the Flash, by other people, like he's been stuck in the prison here, he looks broken, disheveled, physically weaker. He's probably worn down enough that he's ready to help Nora to do something about his own legacy. So he helps Nora develop the time language and helps her try to find ways to save her father so that maybe, like at least the early pitch here before things go off the rails. And as Captain Cold said, the plan always goes off the rails. He thinks that maybe saving the greatest Flash the world has ever known will secure his legacy or at least balance out some of the terrible things that he's done because they can't save Barry's mother now. She has to stay dead no matter what. But they're experimenting with the timeline. Like they say, the timeline is malleable. They're looking for ways to save Barry from Crisis on Infinite Earths that won't completely destroy the timeline. Their official quote reads, "We don't want to do the same villain over and over, and if we had the exact same attitude with Eobard Thawne that we've seen this whole time, that's not going to be interesting either." So he was part of the pitch from the beginning, talking about the beginning of their Season 5 pitch, like he was always part of their plan to come this season. And I think what we really wanted to do was just see a different attitude from Thawne that we hadn't seen in a different light. And there's this big theme of legacy this season. So when we started talking about that with every other character, and then we go to Thawne, it's like, what does legacy mean to him? So that's what we start to touch upon in the background. Tom Cavanagh goes on to just talk about how they're showing a different side, different attitude, different aspect of the Thawne character this season. So you remember though, here's the problem. Crisis on Infinite Earths is happening next year, and we saw in Nora's future newspaper from 2049, there's a paragraph in that specifically mentions Reverse Flash, and he definitely sounds like a villain. So if he's so worried about his legacy and he wants to do some good and help Nora, albeit in a selfish way, like something in him will just come out, his true nature will somehow override whatever his intentions are right now. In the paragraph about Crisis, it reads, "Reverse Flash leads army of shadow demons," and that does not sound like the super fun happy time shadow demons. That makes it sound like he's in league with the Anti-Monitor in some bid to do some crazy damage to the multiverse that will somehow benefit him at the end of the day. So just keep in mind that when they first come back, it sounds like they'll be touching upon this idea of him trying to correct his legacy or at least balance it out so that it seems a little bit better. But by the end of the day, by Crisis on Infinite Earths and next year's crossover, he will somehow have descended back into some situation where he winds up being the great villain of the Flash series. Also keep in mind that Crisis wasn't supposed to happen till 2024, which was season 10 of The Flash, but all of a sudden we're having it next year on the TV show. So it sounds like they might use their storyline, Nora in Reverse Flash changing the timeline, to accelerate to Crisis because of something that they do. We'll talk a lot about them. There's a whole lot of other stuff that they teased during the Flash 100th episode, like the idea that Nora is not the daughter that Barry was supposed to have. Her name was supposed to be Dawn. She was supposed to have a twin. The Reverse Flash in the past seemed to chuckle at the idea that her name was Nora, like, look what Barry's done now. He's changed the timeline again somehow. But that sort of gets into other things that are going on with Nora's character, so we'll talk about that when the Flash comes back. There'll be more trailers coming for that pretty soon too. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about this new looking suit? And what do you think happens to the Reverse Flash by the end of the season that somehow leads into Crisis on Infinite Earths?
I so look forward to seeing how this all pans out. Nora.
If you guys didn't see, Young Justice Season 3 is premiering at the end of this week. I've already done a video for the opening scene, so I'll link that at the end of this. Congratulations, Rohit Vinay Art. You're the giveaway winner from my last big DC video. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your details. Click here to watch that opening scene, and click here for all my crossover Easter egg videos. Thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year, everyone. I will see you guys tonight.